Greetings and good day, YouTube and Twitch highlight watchers. How are you doing today? I myself pretty excited to continue where I last left off in our outdated blog thing. Right? And I call it the YT outdated blog thing because that's kind of what it is. Greetings and good day, Insane Baboon. How are you doing today? Before I forget, let me pull up this so I kind of have a feeling of where I'm going to go and what I'm doing. Okay, so that's what we're doing today. Warrior work. I'll have to get some experience for the diamond pickaxe in a little bit here, but we can do some quarry work today. Anyway. Yeah, I call it the outdated YouTube blog thing because as I've been going back and like putting these videos up live, I've noticed that the information that I give for this is only pertinent for YouTube watchers because it's outdated for the live stream, right? So the people that are going to hear about me starting Red Dead Redemption 2 for the first time ever, right? Those individuals are going to, if they want to watch live, they'll be late to the party because I'll already be streaming it, right? But if you watch on YouTube primarily, then that's what you'll be seeing next, right? Like the next video that pops up is going to be a Red Dead Redemption 2 first playthrough. I don't know what to call it. It's not 100%, but it's like a I'm gonna go through the game until I'm done with it kind of a situation. This coming Friday, right, on November 24th. This coming Friday, November 24th, I'll be starting Red Dead Redemption 2 for the first time. Also, greetings, good day, Redneck. How are you doing today? But I was saying how it's for people who are watching this on YouTube, it's irrelevant if you want to catch that live. Like if you want to catch that stream live, that is one of the downsides of archiving streams like this. But the main reason I do it is because just like how everyone's been influenced by something or someone in their life for why they do what they do, I of course have been influenced by some of the content creators that I watch. Right? So a lot of the content creators that I watch have multiple YouTube channels, one of which is a channel where all the VODs go, and another where like clips go, right? And it's also gonna make me edit differently, right? I'm still gonna have the similar like cut part into part into part, like funny moments or whatever type thing, but now that I've started to watch the full stream when I'm editing, I'm noticing there are certain things that I don't have to have that I've had in the past. Exactly. That too is what I'm getting at. So that's why I'll keep doing it, and I like most of the YouTube content that I'm watching is VOD content, right? It's like a lot of the streams that I watch are from YouTube videos. So I'm not really there live, but that's fine because most of the time I'm doing editing or something with that playing in the background. It does make editing take a little bit longer because there'll be moments where I'll pause it to pay attention to a moment here or a moment there. Yeah. But I'm starting to get the editing down, the way that I want to edit personally, until like I feel the I'm trying to think of the word to use here. I feel the capability of managing an editor, if that makes any sense. I really like how the wall is coming along. I know there are certain parts that I need to fix up and they gotta act differently, but I'll worry about that later. I know I need to fix up a couple parts over here, maybe? I think a creeper blew up not too long ago because, wait a minute, if I go over here and I do this, and this has all that,
listening
That's
to your
there.
favorite artists. And we love listening to you. So, let's talk. Click now to take part in our
Did I
short
fix
survey.
it but not finish it?
And you could
What?
win a month of gloriously uninterrupted music with Spotify Premium.
Huh.
Means you can enjoy
Whatever.
all your
Hey,
favorite
greetings, a good day. I'm
artists
So Rogue.
ad-free.
How are you doing today?
Sound good? Then all you need to do is hit the
So
bell
yeah,
now.
for those of you that
To win.
might not be aware, I like to talk about what we did the previous week, as well as what I'm currently doing up to what I plan to do in the future. Dark Tide? Nice, nice. That's that Warhammer game, right? It's kind of funny how much more lore I know about that because of all y'all. Makes me more interested in checking out 40K games in the future. But yeah, I think my edited content is going to be vastly different from what it was previously. Start the week, I don't know if I've been over it already or if I'm going over this again, but so much happens in such a short period of time between these little blog episodes. Again, don't know really what to call them, so I'm going to call them quote-unquote blog episodes. Because the main purpose of them is just communication. I don't know if I want to keep that or whatever, but we'll just do this for the time being. Played through and finished up Grand Theft Auto 5, where basically that wraps up the playthrough that I was doing of the Grand Theft Auto games, and kind of doing a bit of an analysis of all the games together and how they compare to one another, and where I find the Grand Theft Auto games that I've played in the list of favorites. Alright, at the bottom we have a Grand Theft Auto 3, primarily because of just... This is definitely a list that changes over time, because sometimes your tastes change, right? So a long time ago, when that was, like, you couldn't really compare Grand Theft Autos because you didn't have that many games to compare to, because you didn't have that much experience playing those games, if that makes any sense. Like, there was only one Red Dead game at the time, and that was Red Dead Revolver. And I'm comparing, you can only really compare, how's Red Dead Revolver compared to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas? You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of comparisons you made back then. Yeah, pretty much. Just random ramblings with the rambling man that is myself. Yeah. A lot of the difficulty in a video game, hilariously enough, actually comes from a lack of knowledge in how the game is programmed. Now, this might sound weird, but even if you don't, like, you'll never be able to code a game in your life or something like that, you still pick shit up when you play games for a certain amount of time, even if you don't realize it. Because, like, how they do speedruns and stuff, which is exploits on the code in order to bypass bosses or what have you, right? Exactly. Pattern recognition, that, and like, a perfect example is a game like Elden Ring, right? Before Elden Ring, you don't really notice it until you have other things to compare it to, but the other Dark Souls game, like, any of them you could really think of, except Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, that was like the first one that was a fast Souls game. They're kind of like a slow pace back and forth. You attack, back off. They attack, when you back off, then you push forward and attack. That's how, like, most of the bosses in a Souls game, excluding the DLC, because the DLC is where they take, like, the group of the most off people, like, they just got divorced by their high school love or something like that. They take all those people, put them together, and make them code the DLC, because holy shit, the fucking DLC of any Souls game is like 10 times worse than the base game. It's fucking insane. Manus can go fucking, ugh. That boss, holy shit. That was one of the few bosses I had to be like, hey, is there a way to cheese this boss? Because I'm not going to be able to beat it. Now, mind you, this was before I decided to become stubborn. And even then, I spent a long time on that boss before I gave up and figured out an exploit to beat it. Fun fact, on that boss, there's a location you can lean off to if you have a bow and shoot the boss without seeing it and knock its health down to 0 or like 1 hit where you can walk in and smack it. I did that just for shits and giggles and was able to like hit the boss 2 or 3 times and get the victory that way. Which, if I go back and play the Dark Soul, like original Dark Soul games, I'll probably actually fight that boss legitimate, because the last time I really gave up on a boss, it was during Elden Ring, but it was less because I wanted to give up and more because I wanted to get done with the game. I got at that point in Elden Ring where I was like satisfied with what I experienced, and I was like, all right, I want to beat it. But there was so much that I felt like there were some bosses where I just summoned the Mimic Tears and like rushed ahead. Which in the future I do plan to go through and play Elden Ring again. Probably not a Dex build, but I'm gonna try not to let that feeling hit me again, and I'm gonna try and take my time with the game and spend as long as I need to on a boss before I beat it. It'll be interesting because I've never really done a strength build yet. Gotcha. Yeah, I like to make that joke because as fucked up as it is, it makes it feel more real, you know? Like they took the people that were the most depressed and had them work out their depression by coding the video game. Because, like, every time I do the DLC for one of those games, I can't help but think, who hurt you? Who hurt you to make this vicious? Right? Because that comes from a place of, like, anger and hatred. It has to. Because it's just like, when you compare the final boss of the base game to the final boss of a DLC,
Introducing Carvana Value Tracker, where you can track your
Orphan of Cause,
and learn what's driving it. It might be
that's like
exciting.
one of the most well-known bosses because of its difficulty.
Making you nervous.
Uh-oh, market's flooded. My car's value just dipped.
And then I could start talking about, like, Margit.
Optimistic.
Most people, even if they've never played or watched a stream of
Car prices
those games, know that name Margit for one reason or another.
An expert on your car's value. Carvana Value.
One of the reasons why I love video games, because of shit like that. Like, just look at what I'm playing right now. After how long since it came out? The same can be said for a game like Grand Theft Auto 5, technically. But a good game is a good game, you know? The irony is, because of the way that Grand Theft Auto is designed, that is a game that could always use a sequel, right? But a game like Minecraft, you just update it. I don't think they'll ever truly come out with a Minecraft 2, right? I look forward to like 10 years in the future where this clip is going to be like, things that aged, or whatever, right? I know, but it's like sometimes you don't need a sequel to a game. You know what I mean? Like Terraria. I guess I could understand why you would want more. But I'm almost of a mind of like, instead of it being Terraria, why not make it like a similar game, but with a different world, different lore? I know it takes a long time to come up with that kind of shit, and it's easier to just Control-C, Control-V, and like with the lore, and just be like, hey, you know this character, we brought him back. Only different, a little bit, right? That's kind of how I look at some sequels for games like that. Exactly, Minecraft. Games like that, I think, are just always updated. Now, here's a good question I have. At this point, could we all say that, yeah, Fortnite is one of those types of games that I don't think will ever go away, in quotation marks? Because I don't think Minecraft's a game that'll ever go away. Just like I don't... Like, no matter what, I think Grand Theft Auto 5 will still be a game that sticks around for quite a while. If, you know... Even if Grand Theft Auto 6 is... Like, it makes Grand Theft Auto 5 look like a 1 out of 10 compared to Grand Theft Auto 6. That's how good it is. I doubt that, but just bear with me for a moment. You never know. Even then, there will still be, like... Grand Theft Auto 5 will be around just as much as I think other games that have that core group of players will stick around for who knows how long. Fortnite, you think will fade out? Will it fade out, or will it become something different? Right? Because I don't... This is gonna sound weird, but I don't know if you could let so many IPs just go to waste. The amount of crossover potential Fortnite has, they have to do something. Of course, they probably have to re-sign contracts or stuff like that, but I don't know if they'll forever stick to the battle royale shit. It might become a completely different game in the future. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at, though. Because more people than ever before, I think the peak was 44 million. Maybe I'm off on how many people have ever played that game at any one time, but when I read the article I read, it read, more people than ever before play Fortnite. 44 million people. That's fucking wild to think about how much money that brought in, right? Because even if you talk about 1%, 1% of 44 million is a lot of fucking people. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because how many people spent money on this season of Fortnite? And how many people have stuck around to continue to spend money? You know what I'm saying? Well, it's like, I'll be honest. If they came out with a game mode, a permanent game mode in Fortnite that was a looter shooter, I'd check it out. And if it was good and I enjoyed it and like it made sense and it felt good, I'd play it. You know, I don't care what a game, if the game is good, then like, does it matter what its name is? To a certain extent. I'm sure there's some name somebody could come up with that would be a game you wouldn't play, even if it is a really good game. You just wouldn't play it because of the name. But we're not going to play devil's advocate here today. What we're going to do is we're going to just, you know, shut up and have a nice conversation. But yeah, because of the IP, basically, because of the name, the Fortnite name, it in and of itself is worth a ridiculous amount. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't think that Fortnite will ever go away, but I don't know if Fortnite, the Battle Royale, will be a thing that does stick around, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? They're right below us. And yeah, there's other games that have come into like more well-knownness. More notoriety? No, that's negatively, right? Notoriety is when you're known for bad shit. Popularity, I guess, is the word to use. And there are other games that have been around for a very long time that are gaining popularity. Yeah, that makes sense. Because they've started to like come out officially on Steam and shit like that. Like, you know how many more people know about games like Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, Dwarf Fortress, and stuff like that just because they're out on Steam? Dwarf Fortress has been around since before Minecraft. I say this time and time again, and obviously it's not the exact inspiration, but what helped make Minecraft come into existence is Dwarf Fortress. And Dwarf Fortress, you can get it. I when it came out on Steam, that was one of the few games where I insta-bought because I had been playing Dwarf Fortress free, just like many other people, for so long, because it's got so much depth. I think Dwarf Fortress is one of those games that has the most depth of any game that's recently come out. And it has the possibility for so much storytelling and lore and shit like that. It's crazy. Of course, there's always a lot of shit that's consistent, remains the same, that is ever stagnant, that it never changes. But that's not that bad, because when you understand the constants, like you understand that dragons exist in this realm, you understand that gold exists in this realm, stuff like that, it's easier to pick up on what the lore is telling you, right? That's one of the reasons why I just love video games. That, and I can't remember exactly who it was that was talking about it, but somebody tweeted something out about Alan Wake 2, right? It was some kind of like spiraling thing that I don't understand because I haven't touched the game. But I read the replies, and you have all these people giving in their input about what they think some scene in a video game means. And I couldn't help but be like, this is why I love video games. Because, like, yeah, they're fun. But also because it's actually why I love the internet, I should say, to the extent that I do, because people will get together and be able to talk about all that shit and more. You know? It's fun. Fun being able to discuss things like this. Discuss? Words are weird. We're a couple weeks away from the video, the Video Game Awards. December 7th is when the Video Game Awards will happen. They happen on a Thursday. I will be going live for the Video Game Awards. Normally I don't stream on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, but on special events like that, and events that I want to watch with everybody else, I have a tendency to watch those events live. Sometimes joined with other people in Discord talk, sometimes not. I'm always open to have people join the Discord call. It'd be risky to go into general. I'll think about it, make my decision later on that. But more than likely, I'd be up if people wanted to be like, hey, let's make fun of the Video Game Awards and get hype about what games get announced and shit like that. I'd be up for it. Ever since starting to do that co-op shit in the Psycho Frontier with you, Redneck, I've been way more open to doing, like, multiplayer shit. And it's funny, because here's why. This is one of those things of, like, you can't help it, but this is just the way that this works. When I was a young warthog, back in the day, playing multiplayer in Battlefield 4 or whatever fucking game it was, maybe a Call of Duty here and there every once in a while, but never really like on my own accounts, but on friends' systems or something like that. But primarily stuff like Battlefield or what have you. And just like listening, just having my headphones in, microphone turned off, and just listening to the god-awful shit people would say to each other for no reason other than this person feels they're a better player than the person they're yelling at. And it's like,
Hey, she's on vacation and
I can't believe people get this angry at each other. However, the older I grow, the more I find that kind of shit hilarious, because it's like, look at these dumbasses bitching over literally nothing. It's funny. Anyway, so I always had the assumption that everybody was like that, because that's what I experienced 90% of the time, right? And I never really actively engaged in conversation, which is weird to say because of how talkative and outgoing I am naturally. It's just, a trained thing, a trained feeling from the internet.
Gives thousands of students the skills and networks they need to thrive here in Northeast Ohio and beyond.
I mean, exactly.
Tap now to learn more about
It's just you. It's kind of a perspective thing, because technically,
Earn your master's degree.
you're always. This is gonna sound so weird, but this is the way that I look at it. I look at it as you technically always being old from your perspective, because there is a point in time with which your perspective will end. Not going to get into discussions about all that, but so you're always a young warthog, if that makes any sense from my perspective. But I like playing up on the joke, the I'm an old man jokes, right? Because even if I were to be an actual old man, 60, 70 years old, I'd still be energetic at heart, you know what I mean? Speaking of old man and energetic at heart, Grand Theft Auto series, let me continue that talk. Y'all are distracting me from the main purpose of this conversation. So, at the end, the bottom of the list is Grand Theft Auto 3, because the mechanics compared to modern mechanics are bad. The driving is way too sensitive. The story kind of jumps around a little bit, and things happen like out of left field for stupid reasons, right? But as the games go, the storytelling gets better. So after Grand Theft Auto 3 on the list, we have Vice City. Vice City is as low as it is, not because of the story, because that's actually one of the reasons why I enjoyed playing that game again. The story is actually really fucking good. I don't know why I'm trying to do that. The story of Vice City is actually really fucking good. When compared to some other similar modern games, you know what I mean? I'm gonna have to collect and organize soon, which is gonna be a pain in the ass, but whatever. The mechanics are better, of course. The story has a bit more flow, there's a bit more understanding to what's going on, more so than with Grand Theft Auto 3. The controls are a bit better, but still has that wonkiness. Trying to think if there's anything else. You could go into more places. This was different. You could go into more places. You could go, like, do more types of work. Because you could do fire, ambulance, and vigilante in 3. With this one, you could do another one with the pizza delivery missions. And I think a couple more that I can't think of. Maybe ambulance? Could you do ambulance? Maybe you could do more than I thought. Anyways. Those gave you those rewards, like you would get... Oh, Grand Theft Auto 3 did have the rewards, except it was much harder to get them because you had to do like 10 levels of firefighting in all 3 locations to get immunity to fire or something like that. But by the time you would actually get it, it was kind of useless to have because it was the end of the game by the time you could get it. At least from my perspective. Maybe other people would find it useful, but not I. Then we have San Andreas next on the list. A game that was so much longer than even 3 and Vice City combined, I feel, with how long it felt. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. Regardless, it felt like such a much larger game for a multitude of reasons. Maybe not all of them the best. Because when you break it down, there was a lot of needless driving. And when I say needless, I mean you would drive to a mission location just to get told to drive halfway across the literal fucking map. Just to drive a quarter away to the other side of the map that you just drove from in order to sit somewhere for 5 seconds to finish the mission. That kind of shit is like rough. Like, wow. Then you have Grand Theft Auto 4 and its DLCs. A game with which used to actually be much lower on the list. And the reason it used to be much lower on the list was my bias at the time. Because I spent a lot of time in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, right? That was like, at the time, that was the best Grand Theft Auto game of all time. The amount of shit you could do, you could customize your vehicles, you could like change your character's weight, and you could get weapons with stats and all kinds of shit, right? You could do all kinds of shit. And then 4 came out, and you couldn't do half the shit you could do in San Andreas. And I didn't like, I understood that there was a story, but I was so aggravated because of how little you could do, that playing it again was for the best, because I really enjoy how the story flows. Right? I really enjoy how the story flows. And there's a couple of mechanics that actually start to exist, and you see existing in Grand Theft Auto 4 that become mainstays in Grand Theft Auto 5, right? You see the introduction of strangers and freaks. You see it improved upon in the DLCs, where instead of you not knowing where a stranger and freak is unless you drive around and find them, and sometimes they were timed so you could miss out on some of them, they would show up on the map permanently in the DLCs, whether or not they were actually there or not at the time that you showed up, right? So, yeah, escort missions. That's what those are called, escort missions. I complain about those in Grand Theft Auto 5, but anyways. So, a lot of the mechanics that currently exist in Grand Theft Auto 5 that like everyone talks about as being their favorite exist in a game that they more than likely shot down as being the worst Grand Theft Auto game. Probably because of similar bias that I used to have. Until I actually played the game and went, wait a minute. Yeah, the driving sucks. The driving sucks. But there's a mod you could use that fixes that. Or makes it a little bit better. And what the mod's doing is, I think, using the same code from the DLCs. Because the driving's much better in the DLCs. It's still pretty shit, but it's still much better than what it was. The missile knows where it is. And then we have, on the top of the list, Grand Theft Auto 5. Right? Oh, fuck off. I ain't fucking with you. So Grand Theft Auto 5 is still my favorite. Less so because the story, it flows as, like, the story doesn't flow as well as Grand Theft Auto 4's story does. But the way they tell Grand Theft Auto 5's story and how the characters interact with one another feels more plausible to the world, right? It's not realistic, but it makes sense in the world of Grand Theft Auto that the characters are reacting to each other or interacting with each other the way that they are, because the world that they live in is an even more fucked up parody than reality, right? Like, I know I've been making jokes about more and more reality becoming like the parody that is Grand Theft Auto, but when you break it down, the world of Grand Theft Auto fucking sucks, because that parody is that world's reality. Look at what we got over here. What the fuck is this? I gotta go get some torches. Anyway. So, that's why I think that no matter what the game will be when it comes out, it'll be fucked up in some way, shape, or form. And I guarantee you, the longer you wait before playing a Grand Theft Auto game, the more fucked up it will feel when you play it. Right? Like, if you go and play Grand Theft Auto 3 right now, and you look at some of the way certain things are said, or why they're said, they feel really fucked up compared to how nowadays is. But what's so funny is, when people talk about the kind of like shit that I've heard a couple people are worried about, like them not like them being woke and politically correct and shit like that. In the moment it might feel that way. In the moment it might feel that the game's, you know, it's not what it used to be because it's not saying the shit like it used to say. No, it's saying shit in a different way that's going to become obvious a couple years down the line. Just like how I've been losing my ass laughing at some of the radio commercials that happen, especially that revolve around politics shit. Oh, they're so fucking funny. And like, they're funny in how fucked up they are and how real they currently are. You know what I mean? It's like, man, you live long enough to see, you literally will see everything. You live long enough, because holy shit. But yeah, escort missions are the worst. What's hilarious is, one of the most well-known escort missions involves one of the most beloved franchises, most hated game that is slowly becoming everybody's favorite. That sounds so weird, but when Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty first came out, that, especially after Metal Gear Solid 3 came out, that was the most hated game in the franchise, right? I didn't understand why until much later down the line, when everyone started to realize why it was a quote-unquote good game. That might make a weird sound, like that might sound weird, but when you know of why Metal Gear Solid 2 was made the way it was, and how shit is nowadays, it's wild. And that's why so many people enjoy that game so much nowadays compared to how it was so many years ago. Perspective is a hell of a thing. No, that's not what it is. This is what the escort missions always are. Their speed, their constant speed of whoever you're escorting is faster than your walk speed, but slower than your run speed. So you have to fluctuate between movement. There's been a handful of games that they take away that escort aspect. One of the games that could have had the worst escort missions in the world, but is praised for it because of what it is The Last of Us. The Last of Us is literally escort mission the game. If you want to have an escort mission that doesn't piss people off, it pretty much has to be exactly how they do it in The Last of Us. Otherwise, it will upset people. Because if you have to protect them, why do I have to protect them? Right? If they die, I fail, and it's not my fault because she couldn't protect herself or he couldn't protect himself. Like, come on, man. Why do I have to protect you? And myself, because if I die, the mission fails, and that sucks. But if you die, the mission fails, and that's bullshit. But with The Last of Us, well, yes, it can happen. It is extremely difficult to lose because of the fault of the AI-controlled individual that you're escorting. Also, can we take a moment to appreciate the fact that The Last of Us Part 2 is getting a remake? That is a game that does not need a remake. It's if like they were gonna remaster or remake Grand Theft Auto 5 a couple more times, you know what I mean? And then here's, okay, I can't help. I know opinions are a bit different about this, but I'm personally bitter about it because a game that I really enjoyed that came out this year is only at a couple places at the Game Awards. And like I say, I don't care about the Game Awards in that way. What I'm bitter about is the fact that so many people I've noticed haven't really, a couple people have, but not a lot. Not as many that are talking about like what other games are up there, you know what I mean? I kind of wish more people experienced Armored Core. Such a fun series. That's what annoys me. Now let me bitch about the fact that you have a remake that is of a game that came out quite a while ago up for Game of the Year, when a game that came out this year for the first time isn't up there. Again, you could say that I'm a bit biased because it's Armored Core, but I could say that about a lot of fucking games, you know? Like, let's take a list of all the games that came out this year, excluding remakes, and go, alright, what games aren't on list for being the game of the year that are not up there that should be when compared to, you know, fucking drop creepers. Everybody hates drop creepers. I can't sing that way. I thought I was gonna be able to, but that motherfucker, I need to get light right there. That's probably part. I need to get a little bit closer, I think. That's a bit of a shame, but hey, we're learning. Oh. So that's what my thoughts were on the previous Grand Theft Auto games, right? Now, comparing Grand Theft Auto 5 to Grand Theft Auto 4, I talk about flow a lot, like the storyline flow. And the reason I talk about that is because while I do enjoy Grand Theft Auto's 4 story, it's a lot more tame, a lot more somber. That, and it's not a game that has a good ending. Like, I think it's that much of a better game for it, but the ending leaves a bitter taste in my mouth, right? That's one of the reasons why else I also enjoy the way that Grand Theft Auto 5 does its ending. But there are elements of the story that kind of just happen, and they, like, the more you think about them, the more weird they are when even compared to the parody world that is the Grand Theft Auto verse. You know what I mean? But maybe I'll be speaking a different tune when we see Grand Theft Auto 6. Trying to think about what else we did. Grand Theft Auto 6 was officially announced that the advertisement's going to be coming out early December. I'm kind of hopeful that the whole trailer, like the whole teaser or whatever, will be out for the Game Awards. But a lot of people have brought up the fact that Rockstar has kind of always done their own thing, so what they could see being more feasible or possible is the fact that Rockstar will release like a little bit of a teaser of the trailer, and then do their own thing where they reveal the official full teaser for Grand Theft Auto 6. I guess I'm a little bit impatient because I'd rather them do it earlier, December 7th, instead of waiting a couple days after that. Because it's like, okay, the game's already hyped enough. We've hyped it up for so much. The only time that would make sense to even do is if there weren't a leak that gave the information up about the game existing. Because I feel like people are hype about it, but they'd be more hype if there was no leak. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think about how excited people were. Then again, okay. Remind me of this conversation in the future after the reveal trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6 has been out for a couple of days. Because then I can do the direct comparison. Because it's hard to make a direct comparison for something that hasn't happened yet. Right? But I just when it releases and we get to see the trailer for it, I'm going to try and compare everyone's reaction to that compared to how God of War's was, right? Because nobody had a clue about God of War coming out, God of War 2018. And then the like release trailer popped up during, was it 2017 or 2016's Game of the Year award show? Anyway, regardless of which one it was, everybody was freaking out. And I'm curious about how that reaction is going to compare to the reaction of Grand Theft Auto 6, which is a game everybody knows is going to be doing a reveal trailer. Like, if people are just going to go, oh yeah, we expected that, or they're going to be like, holy shit, look at the game. A lot of them are probably going to be like, holy shit, look at the game, but are less going to be like that because it was already leaked. I'm weird thoughts, Dave. Anyway, ignoring that. Outside of Grand Theft Auto, while we wait for Grand Theft Auto 6 information, I will be playing Red Dead Redemption 2 for the first time. I am not going to be playing it with any mods. I thought about it and I said, screw it, I'm going to play it base form, even if it is kind of annoying to wait until you unlock the fishing. I'm still going to go through and wait because maybe a certain story element will hit a bit harder or a bit differently if I wait to do it based on when you unlock it, because there's got to be a reason they wait, right? There has to be some sort of story element that will make you feel some kind of emotion. Maybe I'm reading more into it, but everyone always praises the storytelling for Red Dead Redemption 2, and I want that game to blow my socks off now. I've been hyped up. I want my socks to be blown away by the amazement that I feel while playing Red Dead Redemption 2. If I'm not feeling some kind of way by the middle of the game, I'll be upset. I'll tell you what. I don't know how long the playthrough is going to be. I'm going to do what I've been doing lately and have a timer set up so we can see how long I take to get through my first playthrough. It's probably going to be a very long playthrough, right? Like, this is probably going to be a game that we end up taking a little bit of a step away from for a couple days to play some other game to come back to that game, right? Because I kind of want to enjoy myself with this game, experience the world, go fishing, go hunting, all that. So this is probably going to be a very, very lengthy playthrough. Just doing quarry work, I call it. It's when I don't really have any desire to do anything in this game except gather stone in order to work on certain things, because as ridiculous as this is going to sound, I need this metric fuck ton of stone to make the quarry feel right. I need to basically, see this wall here? Stone. All of it needs to be stone. All of it needs to be stone. Does that make any sense? No. Why am I doing it? I don't know. Am I still going to do it regardless? Yes. It's one of those things, this is one of those things that I go back and forth to when I don't feel like doing anything else, though. You know what I mean? Like, I could be working on building the other places for the people who have, like, jobs. Like, I could be building a place for the leather workers and stuff like that. But I just don't feel like doing that right now, so I am doing what I call it like decorative work, right? Because yes, I am going to do this at some point, but I don't need to focus on it because I classify this as decorative type shit. I'm just doing it to like have something to go on in the background while I talk about all the bullshit that I've been talking about. Mother bitch. Gotta be careful now. We're starting to dig into the mountain, the cavernous areas. Also, eventually when I go down to I keep going down with layers, I'll find so much fucking diamond. But this is what a strip mine quarry is. Mind you, it looks fucking weird, but Minecraft, what do you expect? But yeah, there's a lot of events in Grand Theft Auto 5 that kind of just occur for one reason or another that might not make true sense, where comparing that to Grand Theft Auto 4, things flow in a way that's like, okay, I can easily see how we got from point A to point B. The funniest thing is, as I say this, I'm realizing that the way they did it in Grand Theft Auto 5 was literally just adding Trevor. To make, holy shit, Trevor is the flux capacitor of that game. And what I mean by that is, how does time travel work? The flux capacitor. How does the flux capacitor work? It uses energy to put you back in time. You know what I mean? Like, that's what Trevor is. Trevor's the guy they created to be like, all right, how do we get Michael from point A to point B? Trevor! Maybe I'm making light of the character, because Trevor's probably my favorite character in that compared to the other characters, he's the most honest, right? And I like honest characters. Even if they're what many people would call fucked up because of it, they're still quote-unquote honest. You know what I mean? And he does have quite a few mental issues, but you start to see where some of those mental issues come from when the mission that crops up after you beat the option C, B, or A mission, depending on which ones you do, a thing will pop up. A couple of missions will pop up, like where are they now? Or something like that. Epilogue missions, that's what they're called. I'm like, what's the fucking word for what the end of a game is? Epilogue. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really did. I played a little bit of Fortnite, both on and off stream with Relatize. Played a little bit of World War Z, which is a game I got for free from Epic a while back. Speaking of, there's a get your current free game of the week from Epic if that's what you care to do. If not, don't even bother with Epic if you don't want to. I get it. I get why people don't like it. I get why people are negative towards it. I understand that. Me personally, it's shitty. But it's really hard for me to turn down free video games because it makes me save money. I didn't have to spend that money to get Grand Theft Auto for the PC. Now, mind you, whenever I do spend money on a game, it's normally me spending money on Steam because of the shit that I'm alluding to when it comes to Epic Games Studio, right? They got some fucked up practices they're doing, so do. We're gonna have to organize this shit. Alright, not as bad, but we got some levels. But yeah, it's just something to do. I can't really think of much else that has gone on that is like one of those big old memorable things outside of some editing that I did, but I kind of want to talk about this last before moving on to what exactly my thoughts are before going into Red Dead Redemption 2, right? And what I plan to do after Red Dead Redemption 2, unless other games crop up to interrupt that plan, because I don't know what's going to come out between Red Dead Redemption 2 and the Fallout franchise playthrough. So we might get a bit delayed in the Fallout franchise playthrough depending on what does come out. If I'm interested in checking out certain games or what, right? Did do a couple of games of Apex Legends, but haven't played with anyone. It was just me trying to knock the dust off, and holy shit, was there some dust to knock off. Alright, I can't really think of anything else to go over, except the fact that I've been starting to edit a lot more often, right? A lot more consistently. And I figured out a different way how I'm gonna edit. Instead of going back and forth when I find something that I find funny, I'm putting markers down on the video itself. So I can go back to it and watch that part and get my parts a bit. So basically, instead of I can spend a little bit less time going through the videos now to edit because of how I'm doing it, right? Like the funny moments I mark, and it's like, is it truly funny compared to other funny moments that I marked? And I'm basically going to be able to turn a 3-hour VOD into a 20-minute video that way. It might not have as many story elements. It might not have as many base gameplay moments. But I think I like that editing in that way. We'll see though, because I'm kind of experimenting with it for the first time. And I'm editing Neo. And what I noticed while I've been editing Neo is how many mechanics they rip from Ninja Gaiden. Because Team Ninja is the same people who made the Ninja Gaiden stuff, make the Neo stuff, the Neo game. And I honestly think, now mind you, I did enjoy Neo, but not as much as I enjoyed Dark Souls, right? So Neo would be a much better game if it didn't have the stamina key system. And the reason I say this is because as I was watching myself learn about the attack combos after playing through and watching Ninja Gaiden content, me playing through Ninja Gaiden Sigma, and then watching a bunch of like speed runs and different types of runs when it comes to Ninja Gaiden, which after Minecraft we're actually going to be watching a speed run of Grand Theft Auto 5 because we just beat that game Friday, and over the past couple of days I've been playing Path of Exile. That's what I've been playing, Path of Exile. Anyway, let me finish this first. And it's just,
I'm also busy performing brain surgery. Well, then we say, you really should have.
Don't lose your train of thought. You had it, man.
Let's get moving to your local store, like now.
I hate when that happens. I really fucking do.
Week 1 seems like it was just yesterday, but the
It'll come back to me in a few moments.
is officially on. So download FanDuel.
Oh, Ninja Gaiden, that's right. Ninja Gaiden.
Cherish every handoff.
If you compare the attacks of Neo and Ninja Gaiden and you take out the stamina, it's like got a lot of the similar attack styles, right? Like there's combos that you can chain off of each other, and really the only reason the game kind of fucks up is because the enemies don't have to face those same rules that you do. When their key's out, it's not actually out as it looks like it is, but it's at a level that means they still have 1 or 2 extra moves some of the time. Basically, their key is like a roll of the dice, and if they roll a 20, they get to ignore your bullshit or fuck you up or whatever it is they're trying to do. And if they don't, they get stunned or whatever it is they need to get for you to succeed in the combo that you're making. That's one thing that I noticed. Another thing that I noticed is that the stamina isn't needed because of the fact that the character takes pauses after certain attack combos, like a fighting game. Because I even say that, like I'm editing it and I'm like, I even say, oh wow, the combos are kind of making it like a fighting game. It is a fucking fighting game, but the reason why it feels off, feels weird, is because it has stamina. It shouldn't have stamina when it also has attack delay or like attack recovery. I think a key pulse would have been fine. But with only the visuals of what happens, because like when you're about to do a key pulse in Neo, there's these like blue orbs that spin around your character and look like they're gonna get absorbed into the character. And like just before they absorb all the way in, if you do the key to key pulse, like if you press the button that'll make you key pulse, you recover some of your stamina. I really don't think they should have had stamina in Neo or Neo 2. I think if you take out like give yourself unlimited stamina and see how much more enjoyable Neo is. This is also something for future me if I ever watch this or notice this. Put a mod in the game or make it to where you never run out of stamina or you have a ridiculous amount of stamina to start with. I don't know how you would do that, but there's got to be a way to mod that in there because that seems like it would be relatively simple to mod compared to all the other mods you get with gamers. Going back a little bit to the game that I played Saturday and Sunday, Path of Exile, the new season, Trial of the Ancients. I'm going to have to step away for a moment, but Trial of the Ancients or of the Ancestors or whatever it's called. That is like 10 days away from the next reveal of what the season's going to be. I don't know if it's 10 days from the season being over or the league being over, I should say. But the league will be over between 2 weeks to a little over 2 weeks from now. And I'm kind of going through and just chilling because I didn't have anything better to play. Had fun with that. I don't expect to continue to play that on stream. Maybe I'll play it a little bit off stream if I get some good editing done. Because here's the thing, I want to try and get done with the Neo series, which only has a couple more VODs left for me to edit, and post those to my YouTube before I get the VODs for Red Dead Redemption 2. Because the next thing that I edit is going to be the current thing that I'm streaming. And the way it's going to work is I'm going to try to make sure I edit Red Dead, like I get Red Dead Redemption done before I start working on any other previous stuff, right? I want to try to get to the point where I could focus on what I'm currently streaming and get those edits up while also editing. Like, it's going to take me a while to get that fast, so it might not work exactly how I'm saying it will, but eventually it will. I'll get to the point where I could probably get out past content and current content at the same time and eventually catch up, right? It'll be like, this is how the race is going to look for a long time, but eventually it'll get like that, right? Anyways, let me run a couple minutes of ads because I am stepping away for a few moments. When I return, we'll talk about my thoughts with Red Dead Redemption 2, what I plan to play after, and some of the events that are going to be occurring before then. Back momentarily.
Want to feel what Trojan Bearskin Raw is like? Want to feel all your senses activated, titillated, heightened more and more until they're completely overloaded? Well then, let's go. Trojan Bearskin Raw, America's thinnest latex condom.
Introducing Spectrum One Stream. Get 300 megabit internet for $49.99 a month, including advanced Wi-Fi, and one unlimited mobile line free for 12 months. And when you add Spectrum TV, get a Zumo Stream Box, also free for 12 months. Plus, get a $100 Visa Rewards card. Spectrum One Stream. It's streaming simplified. Online only. Visit spectrum.com for full details. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Hey Spotifyers! Click or tap the banner to listen to New Music Holiday. 'Tis the season. All new holiday releases. Brought to you by our friends at Peloton. Work out your way.
Okay, true stories from Huntington with Jen and Mindy.
Somebody came through the drive-thru. I looked at the ID. It said Mindy.
You knew Mindy?
I did. I said, oh my gosh, hi, Mindy. And this person looked over and drove away, left everything at the branch. I knew it wasn't her, so I contacted our fraud department and had a hold put on the account.
Well, sounds like she helped save you from identity theft, Mindy.
Yeah, she saved the day. She was my little guardian angel.
Get more than money from your bank. Welcome to Huntington. Real people compensated for true stories.
Okay. So, what my thoughts are going into Red Dead Redemption 2, revolving around the story, how they're going to tell that story, how much freedom we have both during the missions and outside of missions, right? What kind of side content will be exposed to us? The interactivity with the world itself, mechanics of the game, like stuff like that I'm going to be thinking about while going into. That's kind of stuff that I think about when I go into any game, honestly. There is a couple of things that I do know beforehand, and that's primarily due to just generally how the internet is right? There are like 2 or 3 spoilers that I'm relatively aware of, which does suck, but I'm gonna be upfront and honest. I'm not gonna like pretend I'm surprised when something occurs that I already knew existed. After that, the most, like, the thing that's going to be coming up right after that definitely is... Is it after that? When exactly is it? Hold up. Let me look at the calendar up here. So yeah, it'll be basically 2 weeks of Red Dead Redemption 2 before we get the Game Awards, right? So it'll more than likely be 6 days of Red Dead Redemption 2, and on Monday, of course, Minecraft, leading into... We have a reactionary video set up for next week. It's hilariously enough, it is a Ninja Gaiden video. But before that, it's become tradition to watch speedruns of Grand Theft Auto 5. Or it's been tradition to watch speedruns of video games that we beat, right? If they exist. Grand Theft Auto 5 is a game we recently beat, so as is tradition, we're going to watch a speedrun. The way I do speedruns or watch any content is it's just going to be stream-only type stuff. I'm not going to be making videos out of it or anything like that. There'll be frequent pauses to go over some of the stuff that I'm reacting to in certain cases. If I don't have much to say, I might actually do like just to sit back and watch type thing, but I will try and have input in the entire time, because even then it feels weird. Like, it feels weird to just watch without commentary, you know? Because I'm thinking back on a couple of other things I've been messing around with, but I kind of like sitting back and watching the speedruns and stuff like that for the first time on stream. Unfortunately, it won't be the first time I've ever watched a speedrun for Grand Theft Auto 5, but maybe I'll understand more now than I did previously, because I didn't really watch the speedrun, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm noticing that I'm actually trying to pay more attention to what's going on with speedruns now that I'm both interested in possibly doing one in the future, as well as trying to understand what's going on so I could add to it with the chat. Like so I can go like, alright, so this is interesting and this is why I think it's interesting, kind of shit. We probably won't have... We definitely won't have Red Dead Redemption 2 beat by the time the Game Awards occurs, unless I play nothing but that game for like 8 hours a day at least. Even then, what would that be? 48 hours? I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough time. It's going to be a longer than a 48-hour playthrough. I have no idea how much longer it's going to be, but I'm very curious to find out how long the speedrun is going to end up being.
Look around. You can find cars like these on Auto Trader.
Or not the speedrun. I love how I call it a speedrun. It's not a speedrun, it's a casual run. That doesn't make sense, but I said speedrun because I was just talking about speedruns. I'm also curious about how long the speedrun of Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be. But just like I have no idea how long the run is going to be for my first playthrough of Red Dead Redemption, my casual run, I have no idea how long the casual run for Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be. I know most people are going to have it beat before me, because I'm going to play in a way that is probably going to cause people not to really stick around, that want to know the story. But at the same time, for people that might want to go through the game for the first time solo without watching any content of it, it will probably make it to where I'm always going to be behind them, so they could, if they wanted to, watch me go through shit they've already been through. But that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I kind of want to just explore that world in a way that I've never really explored. Of course, the absolute nano fucking second I go away, some shit falls down. Motherfucker. That's some bullshit. I was here for like how long talking, and the minute I step away, we get bitches. Bitches. Anyway. This upcoming playthrough, Red Dead Redemption 2, is going to be a good look at how long playthroughs of games like that normally take me for the first time I ever go through them. Because a lot of the time, if I've played through a game before, or if I know how long a video game is, I have this tendency to reach a point to where I realize I can beat the game. So I then focus on beating the game. Which I'm okay with that, right? That's how I get with games sometimes. I'll be like, all right, I reached the point where I can beat it. Let me beat it. It's kind of what I did Friday for Grand Theft Auto. I could have waited to do the last couple of missions because it ended up taking 2 hours over what I like my averages, which is 6 hours. So I ended up playing Grand Theft Auto 5 for 8 hours on Friday. Yeah, played Grand Theft Auto 5 for 8 hours and beat it because I reached that point where I'm like, all right, we got like 2-3 missions left. We might as well finish it up now instead of waiting, because it just feels weird to... This is going to sound stupid, and I'm going to have to get over it. I am going to have to get over it. But there are certain games where I just need to, like... It probably could have been better to change to a different game at that point. Anyways, ignore me, because there'll probably always be moments where that happens. It feels weird to start a stream with the intention of ending the game that you plan to play for that day without having a plan to know when it's going to possibly end. I know that probably doesn't make sense, but it always feels weird to me whenever I go to play a game with the intention of it being like 2 hours to beat, and I beat it in 30 minutes, and then I'm like, well, now what the fuck do I do for an hour and a half? Because I have already set myself up to play this game for another hour and a half. So whenever I pull the plug on that, it makes it feel weird to play something else. Sometimes I can't really play for that long when I normally would be like, I'll play for an hour and switch to a different game, or just wrap up the stream sometimes. Because it fucks with me sometimes. Mind you, I'm getting better at getting over that weird feeling. But it's a lot of the time where sometimes my streams will go longer than I intend to get to a quote-unquote proper stopping point. I think I'm going to get over it better because of the fact that I am now parting out. Like, if I notice a VOD's going to be 3 hours or longer, I'll be like, all right, we've been going for 3 hours. We might as well part this out at this point and go on. And I've actually been liking this system of, hey, all right, we've been going for 3 hours. We might as well set apart here and then go again. I kind of messed up with when I did it on Friday for Grand Theft Auto because I kept the timer running. Even though there was no recording going on. Like, to me, for a casual run, it doesn't matter. Because if I ever do a speed run, it's going to be in one sitting type of a speed run. It's why I don't think I'll ever be able to speed run a game like Grand Theft Auto 5. Or any Grand Theft Auto, just because of how long the speed run is. A couple of... Like, there are certain games I could play for a couple of hours straight. But they have to be games that I know I could beat naturally in a sitting. A game I know I could beat naturally in a sitting? Ace Combat. Ace Combat 5 at least. Not so sure about Ace Combat 7. After discussing that, the next thing on the agenda would be the Game Awards, which, like I said earlier, is going to be December 7th. Which I don't know if that'll have passed by the time this is out on YouTube, but if it's not, and you've managed to make it this far in the video, be sure to tune in then, because we'll have a hell of a conversation about the going-ons of the games that we see, and whatever else happens, you know? I always like, again, I will make comments about, like, okay, cool, that game got this award or that award, but at the end of the day, I really don't give a shit about that. I'm more giving a shit about, like, the types of shit that we will see. And here's speculation time. What are we going to see during the Video Game Awards? I think we're going to see more information about the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. We might get more information about the Master Collection, or whatever they're calling it, the collection they're coming out with, Part 2. We might hear about that. That would make sense. We're probably going to hear about some new shit from Fortnite. That kind of goes without saying, considering how much advertising money Fortnite spends on the Game Awards. And I can tell you why so many companies spend so much money to advertise during the Game Awards. But I'll explain that later. For the time being, speculation. We're most definitely going to get something revolving around Grand Theft Auto 6. We're getting something. Regardless if we see a trailer or not, they gotta say something, do something, show something. Even if it's not the full trailer, which please be the full trailer. I'm just tired about teases. I'm tired about leaks. I want it. And I want it to be over with. Because I want people to shut the fuck up finally about Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, I get it, I'm excited for it too. But all the theories are making me exhausted about what's going to be in the game, what's not going to be in the game. Look at this information from this leak. Look at this information from that leak. Shut the fuck up. And I'm even saying that about myself a little bit. Right? Like, I'm thinking about it. I'm going to be so annoyed when I'm editing this, or apologies if someone's editing this in the future, about how annoying I've been about how excited I am for Grand Theft Auto. And I am still excited about it, but fuck, man, I just want to be able to shut the fuck up about it and play the game. You know what I mean? Or know when it's coming, even if it is 2034, which it's not going to be 2034. Fuck, man. Do you want there to be riots in the street? Because that's how you get riots in the street. I'm joking. If that wasn't obvious enough for, you know, the TOS. I repeat, that was a joke. Anyway. I doubt it. We probably won't, but it'd be cool to get any new information about anything XCOM related. Like, I'd like to see XCOM 3, but I doubt we'd get that. We might get some new information about The Sims 5, which I'm not really excited about. But at the same time, I'm kind of super amused because if The Sims 5 actually comes out, I'll laugh my ass off because of, like, the fact that there's so much DLC for The Sims 4. And of course, people are still going to play The Sims 4 because of that purchase. But if you've bought The Sims 4 DLC, you've spent well over $1,000. That's probably a mod, right? They probably already have Grand Theft Auto as a mod in Minecraft. What other games are we speculating they'll talk about? Or what games do we hope they'll talk about, right? We might get something for Elden Ring. Whether it's a meaningful DLC or not is up in the air. We might get new information about new... Weirdly enough, I'm going to say this, but I don't think it will happen. New Battle Royales. This is something I will think that will happen. New looter shooters. Or looter shooters that have previously been announced. We'll probably get more information on them. You're probably going to start to see some maybe not yet. Maybe next Game Awards, you'll see games that are similar to Baldur's Gate being announced, right? Because that game is going to cause a lot of games to come out that are exactly like that. Tarkov Arena, probably. That might be a fun time. That might get me into Tarkov. Ironically enough, I want to get into Tarkov because of the looter shooter aspect of things. It's just, I have a plan for a lot of other games, and I don't want to spend money on a game that I'm not going to be able to spend time in. You know what I mean? Like, I will get Escape from Tarkov at some point to play it, but I don't know when.
Family game night, but your fridge is looking a little dicey. See what I did there? Giant Eagle is now available on Instacart.
There will be a day where I'll just say, fuck it, no games will be popping up soon, or I won't be interested in the games that are currently available, and I'll be like, fuck it, let's dive into Tarkov for a season.
Meets the unbeatable convenience of Instacart. Let's go. Oh, yeah! Oh, you can't beat that. Visit instacart.com or download the app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Minimum order $10.
Anything else can I list off the top of my head?
With the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card. Earn points to redeem for free nights at thousands of global properties across 30
Nothing really comes to mind for speculation or anything like that. Or like desires that I could really think of. Well, no matter what day it is, I probably will be going live for at least an hour on, like, Christmas Day. I probably won't be going live on Thanksgiving Day, because that's a day where I'm going to sleep by the time I normally go live. That, and this might sound weird, but to me, I just look at holidays as another day on the calendar. I get why they're celebrated the way that they are, and I respect that. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, it's just another, like, it's fun, don't get me wrong, it's fun to hang out with family and stuff like that, like, it's a good excuse, but at the end of the day, it kind of feels like that's all it is an excuse to hang out with family and get together, when it is difficult to have a reason to hang out with people that live far away, you know what I mean? Like, it's as much as it might seem that I'm like, whatever about holidays, I actually really enjoy that, because there are some people that live pretty far away, and on your average day can't just stop on down to your family member and be like, hey, how's it going, so-and-so? So being able to be like, hey, how have you been over the last year that I haven't seen you every year is kind of nice to get a little bit of an update, Mind you, it's a little bit less so nowadays because of how easy it is to communicate with people, or how easy it quote-unquote could be to communicate with people, because it isn't. People have this hang-up with actual communication with each other nowadays, it feels like. And even if they are talking over the phone or whatever, it's like, I think the conversation's lacking the grounding in reality, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like when people are talking face to face, they're a bit more blunt about what they're saying, a bit more truthful in the way they're saying what they're saying, because they're right in front of your face. Where I try to be like that always, regardless of there being a camera there or not, right? Like, yeah, I might temper what I say exactly, when I would normally make jokes that, while not offend people, because at the end of the day, when certain people say certain things, they don't mean it in the way that a lot of people take it. But at the same time as I say that, there are some things that you just don't say, for obvious reasons. It's why it's against the TOS, because it's fucked up to say those words. You know what I mean? Hard to explain. It's hard to explain but it should make sense the way that I'm explaining it. So, a lot of the time you see me being pissed off at a game, I'm legitimately pissed off at the game, but I kind of let that anger and rage go. For the most part, there are certain things that I kind of hold a bit of a grudge against, like the Ravager. I will forever hate the Ravager. If somebody were to give me a statue of the Ravager, I would have a hard time not putting it in the box. Anyways, outside of that, do we think we're going to get any like hype games that no one's going to expect? Yes or no? This isn't a what that game's going to be. This is going to be one of those, holy shit, they're making one of these? Maybe it's not for you, that game, but it might be that game for other people. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, there'll be a game that will be announced and I'll be like, I don't give two shits. But everybody else will be like freaking the fuck out. And then just like there'll be games where I'll freak the fuck out about, other people won't give a shit about it, right? A little bit of a waste. I'm trying to go through the list of any other things I could possibly think of. Of course, we're probably going to have cringe moments. Are we going to have another stand runner? Like, is someone going to run up to the stage? We've had that happen a couple of times now. Do you think it happens again? There's no way, right? There's no way it happens again, right? Hope not. That's not... When shit like that happens, yeah, it's luckily in a good fun or whatever, but it's a big fucking security risk. And people will see that and be like, oh, you're blowing it out. Not really. It's lucky that it's been all in good fun, but what if it wasn't? And I know it's like the, oh, what if people are gonna be like bitching at me for saying that, but you can only look at something that could have been horrible in a lighthearted way because it wasn't horrible. You know what I mean? If something horrendous happens, you can't look at that in a lighthearted way because of the fact that something horrible happened. You know what I mean? After the Video Game Awards, what do we got? We have we have Christmas, or the winter holidays, or whatever the hell you prefer to call it. So there's that. I can't think of any other holiday after that, but I can think of the next game that's on the list to play, unless something pops up because of that, and that is the Fallout franchise. Starting with like Fallout 1, going through the whole list. I would want to play Fallout Tactics and stuff like that, right? So I'm a bit curious as to anyways, I'm a bit curious as to how the games change over time, right? And I'm curious about how much I'm going to enjoy Fallout 1, 2, 3, New Vegas, all that. And I do think that this will be the second game that I'll ever play. No, third. Wait, how many games have I played that have been modded? Grand Theft Auto, to make it a bit more difficult for the PC version, where like the cars would take more damage and you would take more damage, like one hit would kill you sometimes, stuff like that. XCOM, I modded the hell out of XCOM. And I think that's it. The next game that will be on that list will be Fallout 4. And then after Fallout 4, we'll probably have... We might get more information on the next Elder Scrolls game. Do you think that's a possibility? Because the next time that I play Skyrim will be for when the next Elder Scrolls game is officially announced, / is going to be releasing soon. Because I want to play that game modded. I've played through that game a lot, and even on stream I've played it once or twice, but I've only beaten it once on stream. I've beaten it a couple times off. But it's gotten to the point to where I really need to mod the game in order to feel like it's new / different. This might be a bit overkill, but I don't think there's any other thing to do with the bricks, right? Like, I can't make bricks of the same type a different color. I don't think I can. What else? Like I said, might get some more information for the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. Even though it's apparently not plausible, I still want to see the Game Awards show off Grand Theft Auto 6 in some way, shape, or form. I'll probably take my time. So, like, with the Fallout series, I'll probably take my time with it. I probably won't have any mods till Fallout 4 because of how many times I have played Fallout 4. After that will depend on what I play next. Mind you, there are some games that will interrupt this playthrough for one reason or another. Like they get announced and then released a couple months afterwards, stuff like that. So this is only like a loose plan for the future. Go down the list and see.
And Kalahari Resorts is excited to bring back the Colossal Wave of Wonder float. It features a
yeah, that's pretty much
family of elephants and their friends.
Kalahari is located in Sando.
pretty much it for like short term that I could think of. Right?
KalahariHead over to KalahariResorts.com today. Okay, true stories from Huntington customers with Kitty.
So, tell me about yourself.
I was blind from birth.
That must make banking difficult.
That requires a lot of trust. Before I could even ask, Huntington offered their statements in Braille that made me feel like I was as important as you are.
I'm sure.
It feels like just the right place.
Get more than money from your bank. Welcome to Huntington. Real people compensated for true stories.
NFL Week 1 seems like it was just yesterday, but the countdown to February is officially on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what mods, though. That's the thing. The only thing I could really add to it is I just don't know what mods to add to something like Fallout 4. Basically, before I play through the game and mod it, I'm going to talk to people on Discord and be like, yo, anyone got any mod recommendations for Fallout 4? Like, obviously they have to be suitable for terms of service and all that. Because I know how some of you all are on the internet are. I'll probably even do, like, the week before will be like, or a couple weeks before I start playing that Fallout, I'll be like, alright, hey, YouTube video people watchers. People who are watching this on YouTube, tell me, because by the time this goes up and I get comments, I'll probably be just ready to start, not this video, but the video that I'm talking about in the future. So, like, by the time this goes live, I should be ready to do this, right? And the this in question would be me going through the game with mods. I'll probably do the same thing with Skyrim when I'm ready to play it, and I probably won't turn down any mod at that point, right? Normally when I think of a modded experience, I think of something that adds more to the game but doesn't make things too silly. But then I was thinking about it, I said, you know what, fuck it, if like turning all the dragons into either Thomas the Tank Engine and or Macho Man Randy Savage is what the funny thing to do is, I'll do it. Fuck it, why not? Maybe I'll be amused by it. Mind you, that doesn't mean I'll put the mod in just because I brought it up, but who knows how I feel now, or who knows how I will feel in the future compared to how I feel at this moment. After Fallout, I'm not sure what exactly will be on the agenda. I'll figure out what I want to play after Fallout, probably around the time that I'm getting into Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 4 or what have you. Speaking of Fallout, do you think we get any information on a new Fallout game? Or are they still milking 76? Do we get information about something new with Fallout 76? Or do we get information on a new Fallout game? That's the question. Is it Microsoft that recently got Activision Blizzard? Does Microsoft take advantage of that acquisition? Or do they wait for like a private event? Like Microsoft pulls a private event where they reveal new information, what they plan to do with some of the IPs they've gained after that purchase. Like, I'm very curious about how it's gonna go. Mind you, between this Monday and the next, things can, of course, change. But more than likely, this has been the plan. This is going to remain the plan for the future. Oh, this is something I could talk about that was pretty hilarious now that I'm thinking about it, because I'm going through the list of, like, things that I've looked up or heard while scrolling through Twitter or what have you. And I couldn't help but laugh because apparently it was reported that Snoop Dogg was giving up smoke. And of course, when you hear that, the first thought is Snoop Dogg not going to be smoking any pot anymore. And I fucking laugh because I'm like, there's no fucking way. Because just with what the tweet says and how it says it, he's fucking around. It doesn't actually mean the smoke that everyone thinks it does. Comes out today, it's a smokeless grill. He was advertising a smokeless grill. And everybody's like, damn, he really tricked us. He got us. And I'm just like, you were tricked by that? All right. Obviously, the being tricked by that alright is very sarcastic. Or at least I'm trying to make it sound very sarcastic. I think that will technically be the first stream that I do outside of planned events so far. Like, what I mean by is like the first stream on one of my off days. Maybe I've had another stream on one of my off days. Whatever, doesn't really matter. Basically, what's going to happen for the Game Awards stream is I'm going to go live a half hour to an hour earlier than it goes live, just to bullshit with everybody and like come up with a finalized plan of what we truly really hope to see, like a list. We'll make an itemized list and we'll check off whether or not it happens, and maybe I'll write some like little notes about it. I'll pull up a notebook. That's what we'll do. We'll pull up a notebook, and I'll have it off to the side, and we'll discuss some of the things we want to see. And I'll be able to check, like, talk about what it is if we do see it or if we don't. That might be fun to do. So we'll do that, and then we'll get into the awards section of it. It'll probably be into the pre-show, so I might have the pre-show playing for a little bit, muted or something like that, or maybe low sound. But who knows? They might. They've been showing like new releases or whatever during the pre-show a couple of years in a row. They've kind of been like games that haven't really gotten people excited, but I kind of like seeing that because it gets to show off all the new shit that might be coming out in the future. Maybe there'll be a game or two that makes me go, huh, I want to check that out. A lot of indie games they show off doing that. Starting to lose trains of thought to go over about future plans and stuff like that outside of the most obvious ones. Again, haven't decided if I'm going to play any Path of Exile off stream this week. I am going to do my dailies in the games that I've been doing my dailies in. I'm also going to try and focus a lot more on editing than I have been. I'm pretty sure I can finish up these edits, because I think I have a total of 3 edits to do, and I have 4 days to get them done. So I'm probably going to focus on specific time slots to do them, for like work for a couple of hours, take a break, work for a couple of hours, take a break, and then work for like 4 hours or 6 hours straight on editing. And that should allow me to actually get done with any concerns after Neo. You know what I mean? Like, the next thing I'm going to edit after that, like the old content edits, is going to be the game that actually convinced me to get a webcam. And that game is Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is the game that convinced me to get a webcam because there was a moment in the game where it was so stereotypical for the story that as I was about to take a drink from this mug, as I was about to take a drink, I roll my eyes and be like, I already know what's gonna happen, right? He's gonna get fucking killed or some bullshit. And I start taking a drink. That very thing, the dude gets killed. And the main character does this. Rolls their eyes and goes, typical. Exactly what I basically did before it happened. I fucking lost it. But that reaction is only auditorial. It's not visual. And I was so sad about that. I was like, damn. Damn. So there's a lot of shit that isn't as funny because it's not there. At least from my perspective, that's how it feels. So that will be the next old content edits. But it will take a while before I get to those, more so than it will in the future, because I need to get used to the new way that I'm going to edit. And the new way that I'm going to edit is going to be a lot more streamlined than what it used to be. It also means that I'm stepping back and I'm going, okay, what is it that these edited videos are trying to show? What am I trying to show people? Is the story as important as I've been making it out to be for what edited videos are? Maybe, but I think it's really more pertinent when some of the story elements have to pertain. Like, it's perfect for you can tell I'm kind of struggling with how to word this because I'm struggling with what I want to do exactly. Do I want to edit a moment's clips, or do I want to try and be formative of the story while also having those humorous moments? Because I do like analyzing the story. There's a lot of context you need for me to do what I do with the story nowadays. Maybe when I was first starting out with my edits, that wasn't really necessary. But now that I've become better at externalizing my internal thoughts, it's much better for me to have the amount of content that I do for one of my edited videos. But at the same time, that's why the VODs exist, right? Like, the main idea I'm having is that the edited videos should be set up to have people want to seek out the streams and the VOD content, right? Like, that's kind of why I want to have these to exist,
Over a new leaf by selling your
right?
car to Carvana today. Sure, pumpkin spice lattes, football, and cool crisp air are great, but how about spicing it up even more with some cash? Just go to Carvana.com, enter your license plate or VIN, and get an offer in seconds. They'll even pick it up and pay you on the spot. Visit Carvana.com or download the app today. Pickup fees may apply.
Alright, that's fine. Going down a checklist, soft checklist of things that I could talk about. I already talked about the Neo shit, right? How Neo would be a better game if it didn't have the stamina bar, and it gets a lot of its mechanics from Ninja Gaiden. But the problem is with the stamina, it kind of makes those mechanics not feel as good. Like, there's two delay systems. That's the problem. There's two fucking systems that delay you in being able to attack. And there shouldn't be. Because the combos have a recovery that's longer than, like, how Elden Ring works. Do we get Bloodborne 2? That's a question. Do we get an announcement for something like Bloodborne 2? Also, I've noticed that with, like, after experiencing Ninja Gaiden and playing through and watching Neo, I now kind of get why the grabs feel the way that they do with Neo. Like, there's a lot of systems that are, like, you change that coat of paint, get rid of the leveling up system. You get rid of the leveling up system, you get rid of the gear and shit like that. Maybe one or two things you keep. But basically, it's a Ninja Gaiden game that's painted as if it were a Souls game. That's why Neo is as weird as it is when thinking about it within the context of a Souls-like. Because it's basically taking Ninja Gaiden and painting it to be Dark Souls. That's the only reason it has a key gauge, aka stamina gauge. Yeah, I think we're good there. Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm always excited for new announcements. This is kind of why I watched some of the events that I watched on stream, like the Summer Games Fest and stuff like that, just to get hyped for new game announcements. Or in some cases, at that moment, I was extremely hype. I'm still hype about it, don't get me wrong. But thinking about what it is makes me a little bit less hype. But thinking about what it could become makes me a bit more hype in that sense. And what I'm referring to is the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I'm hyped for it, don't get me wrong, but I'm not as hype as I used to be initially, because at the end of the day, been there, done that, played through played through Metal Gear Solid 3 before, right? But I'm excited for it to exist because that could potentially mean all the games are going to get a remake. They might finish Phantom Pain, or they might completely change what Phantom Pain was. That would be interesting to see how that goes. And they might even have the audacity to try and make another new Metal Gear game. That's the question. If they do, could they still make a good Metal Gear game without Hideo Kojima? Now, a lot of people might say no, because of the game that shall not be named. However, if you really break it down, I'm pretty sure that Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, or whatever the hell that's called, isn't really a Hideo Kojima video game. I'm pretty sure that was created by somebody else. And it's obvious it was created by somebody else. And it feels like just as much of a Metal Gear game as a Metal Gear game. Right? It really doesn't have... It has a little bit of stealth, but the type of stealth it has pales in comparison to what Metal Gear games had and have. But at the same time, a game doesn't have to be exactly the same with the way that it tells the story that it tells for it to still be classified as a game in that franchise, right? Like, I think one of the reasons why a lot of games kind of get a little bit stagnation is, like, just look at the Call of Duty shit. Those games are pretty much becoming the same exact game. Again. Literally. Considering they're pumping out remakes. And it is kind of frustrating where, like, all we're doing is rehashing games that we've already released. We're not, like... And what I'm talking about is with the remakes, like Resident Evil 4. Yeah, that's cool that it's getting a remake. I get why it's getting a remake. But at the same time, that game already came out. What about the new Metal Gear? I mean, the new Resident Evil games. Did I say Metal Gear? I meant Resident Evil. Resident Evil 4 already came out. That's what I meant to say. I might be flubbing up the words because I'm just thinking about a lot of different games right now, and I'm kind of curious to see, will we get a new announcement for a new Resident Evil? I already think we're going to get more information for Metal Gear Remake. We're probably also going to get more information for Death Stranding 2, I would imagine. Any hype horror games, or does that get saved for a different event, do we think? What about a new Star Wars game? You think we're going to get new Star Wars game announcement? Or are we going to get more information on previously announced Star Wars games? If there are any previously announced Star Wars games that haven't come out yet. Okay, so honestly, I think I can work on the wall more next Monday to finalize that, like make it look pretty. Then again, there's also other households we need to set up. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll plan out households next Monday. Because we've kind of gone over what we plan to do, but I also, at the end, like to go over what I plan to do for Minecraft. Try and make things flow, like I have an idea for when I'm going to be talking. And what's hilarious is this was perfect because this conversation went on a bit longer than I anticipated. By like a half hour. I thought it was going to only be an hour and a half, but it ended up being a little bit over 2 hours. And I can't really think of much else to add to the conversation at this current moment in time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of a wrap-up spiel for YouTube and Twitch highlight watchers. If you're watching live, stick around because we're going to be switching on over to a little bit of React content. And that React content is going to be about a Grand Theft Auto 5 speedrun. Which I'm kind of excited to watch now that I'm going to be like paying attention to what's going on, and I kind of know what other has happened with other Grand Theft Auto speedruns. If you're new here and you haven't already, be sure to become a citizen today via subscribing to this channel as well as my main channel. If you're watching on YouTube, links will be down in the description below through all my links. Exclamation point links like so. If you're watching on Twitch, be it live, the highlight, or the VOD while it's still up there, in order to catch me on all of my associated sites. Be sure to follow me on Twitch. Catch me when I go live at 6 p.m. EST, EDT, Friday through Monday. Invite link to the community Discord where you can always get the most accurate notifications of whenever I do go live. If I'm going to be a little bit late or early to stream outside of a half hour, or as long as I know I'm going to be late, as well as where you can communicate with other citizens of the kingdom. Whatever else catches your fancy, through all my links. Until next time, take care, and have a good one.